my microphone on, it is. This has just dropped out of my pocket, so I'm just going to hold it. Thank you for that introduction, much appreciated. As mentioned, we're going to be looking at the search to stay guest journey and how to enhance booking technology to improve it. We're hoping to look at some innovations, transforming the guest journey and helping hotels to drive bookings, optimize revenues, of course, which is really important, and keep guests loyal, we hope so. So we've got 3 really good speakers this morning. I'm going to actually bring them up on stage before I tell you who they are and what they do. So, gentlemen, would you mind joining me on stage? Thank you. Give them a round of applause while we're walking up stage. Any order, I don't mind where you sit, whatever you feel comfortable with, I'll take the end seat. Thank you very much. And I'm going to put my little power pack down here then. Right, so let me introduce you to our panellists. Over there on the far right, we have Tariq Valani. He is the Senior Vice President of Global Support Services at Accor. He has 20 years of experience. He leads tech and support framework for more than 5,400 hotels. Is that all? Sure there's not any more there? No?
It's enough.
Yeah. So we're talking sales, distribution, loyalty, 43 brands, 117 countries. So yeah, it's quite a lot. Thank you for joining us, Tariq. And then we have Schirru in the centre here, who is Executive Vice President at Blastness. Now, that's an Italian travel technology company focused on increasing direct bookings and hotel revenues through innovation, mainly for independent hotels. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yep.
independent hotels, even if we
Excellent.
also work in special cases with groups on dedicated solutions.
Excellent. Thank you for clarifying that. And last but not least, I have Fouad Talaat, the Regional Manager for Middle East and Africa at Booking.com. You've got a lot of experience, 20 years. Obviously, everyone knows Booking.com and what you do. And you work a lot with the industry, don't you, with partners and making sure you've got those partnerships with the hotels. So, yeah, excellent. So we talk about this a lot, don't we, the search to stay. It's not a new topic. It comes up all the time. So it's good to kind of check in where we're at and where we're going, what we can do, because we're never going to really reach that end point, are we? We're always going to be looking to improve it. We talk about hyper-personalisation. It's a buzzword, isn't it? And in terms of how that can improve the search to stay journey. So where are we and where do we go now? And I am going to kick off with Fouad.
Sure.
It's like a lottery, isn't it?
No worries,
Who's she going to ask?
Yeah, cool. So basically, first of all, hi everyone. Happy to be here. And so at Booking, we have embarked on a long-term journey, which is simplifying travel with the vision of the connected trip. And our goal is very simple.
So what's the connected trip? Sorry, can you break that down?
I'm going to break it down. So it's
Excellent.
a very simple goal where we would like to make the planning, booking, and experiencing travel way easier, more personal, more enjoyable, while bringing better value to both our customers and partners. And we believe this is important because if you're a traveler, you would know and understand or have encountered a lot of friction and can be complicated more than it should be. And we have always envisioned, of course, that AI will take a central role in making that travel easier and more enjoyable. And the AI is not something new for us. Like we have been working with AI capabilities for years. Last year we have launched our AI trip planner, which is we launched it in the US and UK market, leveraging an existing machine learning models that recommends destinations and accommodations.
Is it ChatGPT based? Similar?
So it's partially powered. Because it's built on the foundation of our machine learning models that does millions of recommendations on daily basis to our customers. It's partially powered by large language models, indeed, from ChatGPT to allow or to create a conversational experience for our customers.
Okay, so it's about the conversation.
Yeah.
So is that with chatbots?
So this is what is new.
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
This is what is new for us.
Right,
yeah.
okay, right. Excellent. We'll part that. We'll talk about chatbots and
Perfect.
that element, and the hyper-personalisation. Now, Tariq, you were quite keen to talk about this aspect. And the hyper-personalisation element. How do we actually bring that in? How do we do that? Is it happening? I mean, I get kind of semi-personalised offers. Are they really hyper-personalised? Is my experience hyper-personalised? No, I don't think it is, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, what do you think?
Right, I think it's a journey.
Yeah.
And listening to the last panel, I think data is a big part of that journey. And so at this point in time, we have a vast amount of data, but it's about putting it together in a meaningful way to actually understand what to do with it. And one of the things that actually is a positive with all this data is the hyper-personalization, because you're actually able to understand your guest desires. And if you look at it, and again, the buzzword, not to give away, but you know, the whole omni-channel discussion, looking at your guest from a 360 degree on different platforms, different channels, to understand who is that guest. And once you truly understand who the guest is, you can start to personalize.
Yeah.
And after you've personalized, you go to the next step, which is the hyper-personalization, which then could be a combination of what you want to do as a brand in combination with who that guest is.
Is this happening?
I would say it's on its way.
Right, okay.
Is there a long way to go? Yes, absolutely. Will it be something that you see in all segments? Probably not. So I think there will be a limitation as to personalization and then hyper-personalization.
Yeah.
So what you see or what you get as a guest in an ultra-luxe property versus what you would do or get in an economy hotel may not be the same. Definitely won't be the same. But I think there is still great value in personalizing across the board, regardless of what scale you're at.
Why do we think the industry doesn't do it well? Because we see other industries, don't we? You know, like Netflix, or I mean, there's so many other things where we get that personalisation, and it, you know, based on algorithms. Even when we go on our social media, it's all tailored towards us. Feeds us messages we don't even know we're being fed. Why is the industry so behind on this? Who would like to answer that question? Thanks, Gemma.
happy to take this one. So basically, it depends where is the customer when it comes to intent. So if the customer is a low intent, often that's a customer where is engaged with the brand through advertisement. This is where it becomes quite challenging to engage and hyper-personalize towards that customers. Then as the customer or the traveler, the customer for Netflix or any company, traveler for us, for this industry, move throughout the funnel, become show little interest by consuming some travel, let's say, content on social media, then we get slightly better at personalization. The moment the traveler moves further into the intent and shows a real intent or a real interest in purchasing travel, this is where we get to know more and become better at personalizing the offering towards that traveler or that consumer.
Thank you. Piero, now you're all about bringing data together, aggregating it. Right, so tell us where you fit into this and what your view is and how you help, and you know, you're helping hotels to get this element and make money at the same time. Because
I think this is the big point.
It is about the guests, but we want to make some cash, right?
We are all talking about guests, but yes, and exactly how you were saying before, literally, there's a lot of data. We can really sit on data now today. So if I think what I would say now, what hotels could do now, what we are helping hotels to do now is actually using technology for two things. First, transforming all this huge amount of data that come from different sources into something that's more valuable, something that at a certain point you call information. But also information at a certain point needs to be turned into an action that brings revenue. This is what we believe. We have to turn it into remarkable action. And coming to Blastness experience, maybe one of our most successful projects, and also we have to thank Booking.com for inspiring us in this. It's working to put all this data together. For example, data both coming from the web world, so advertisement, Google, but also from the hotel world, from the PMS, to put it together, and in order to create something that we call a bid management system. What is this bid management system? And it comes close to what you were saying before. It's helping them to create a dynamic budgeting algorithm, because the point is that yes, you can do a lot of advertisement, but the point is the return on this advertisement going to be useful for the hotel and for the direct bookers? So what we do with this algorithm is that using the data, so no more based on, let's say, sentiment, but on what's happening and on the chance to convert, we're able to push the visibility of an advertisement, both on search engines like Bing, like Google, but both on meta search like Trivago and TripAdvisor, according to the chance to convert it in a direct booking. Because the point is that, yeah, you can do a lot of advertisement, but if in the end it costs more than getting a booking from booking.com, you should get it on booking.com. So you have to get the right balance, and this is what we do with our bid management system that today manages more than 60,000 auctions per hour in 7 different languages and 200 countries. And this led us to be the first provider in Italy for number of clicks that we bring to hotel. This in the environment to making direct bookings live together with indirect bookings and then bring revenues to hotels.
Okay. Now that's kind of from the hotel side. We're talking about the guest journey. So how does that translate to a better guest experience? Piero, can you just touch on that quickly? Yeah. So what is it actually enabling them to do to keep that guest engaged and give them a more seamless experience?
Yeah, this was something we were talking about, and we think that data is a good point to enhance experience. Actually, something that we were talking about and in Blastness we are bringing, it's something by creating a special strategy for direct and indirect booking, something that we call a dual revenue management.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that these two words, they have to work together. OTAs give a lot of visibility of big value for hotels. At the same time, hotels need to work on their direct bookings. They will not come by themselves. So in this dual revenue management approach, what we say is that there are 2 strategies that go parallel. One is more focused on the OTA's peculiarity, but when we come to direct bookings, you need to go in personalization, helping especially returning customers to keep attraction and grip, and going into, let's say, giving them more personalized stay, more chance to have a choice.
Yeah.
Even because in data what we see is that the time that they spend on the booking engine of the hotel is much higher of the time that they spend on OTA. So it's a different behavior, even if maybe Piergiorgio is always the same person going to buy.
Yeah. Now, Tariq, we talked, a conversation we had on the phone about omni-channel integration and getting the balance right between the two. I mean, you can't exist by yourselves as a hotel company. We need to give choice. Wherever the customer goes, we need to be there. How do you get the balance right? What's the answer? And again, for the best guest experience and for you to make cash.
I wish there was a secret sauce to it, but there isn't. I think that for every hotel company and for every brand specifically, that balance is different. We were just having a discussion about what are the different channels and what are the actual age groups that use these different channels for different purposes, and whether it's shopping, whether it's booking hotels, etc. And you have to then tie that back to what kind of a segment of hotel you're looking at. So if you're talking about the demographic and the age group that use Instagram over TikTok, then you look at, for example, okay, what brand would fit that, and you start to push influences on that on that platform, and you start to create that longing and desire to be at those hotels. But is that the same desire that somebody else on TikTok would have? Is that a brand that they would want to stay at? Are they about luxury, or are they about a more eco-friendly? And even though that is across the board, there are varying degrees, right, of what you can find in the eco segment as well. And eco, not economy, but eco-conscious.
Yeah.
So I think that it is something that has to be developed specifically brand by brand to find the right mix.
It's collecting that data once again, isn't it?
Indeed.
And doing something with it rather than just sitting on the data, which seems to happen a lot at the moment. Fouad, the balance between OTAs, I mean, this has always been an ongoing question, but it seems like you guys are more friendly these days, the OTAs and the hotels. You love one another now, don't you?
Of course.
How do you help hotels? I mean, and you talked about how you work with your partners. What are you doing to, again, make it more seamless? So whether they go to you, they go direct, and how can everyone benefit?
Sure. So, of course, we believe in a very in a two-sided marketplace where we wouldn't exist without our hotel partners or suppliers and without our customers. And how we help hotels. Not every hotel or hotel chain have the capability to deploy, talking about the omni-channel, to deploy a comprehensive multi-channel strategy. So what we do, we help them by bringing demand to their doorstep, and it's up to different hotels to accept or to convert that demand or not, depending again on what Pierre said earlier about the cost of acquisition for customers. What I would advise, or to maintain that healthy balance, of course, is every OTA hotel chain is to develop that comprehensive multi-channel strategy, because the consumers or people are spending their time very differently than just a decade ago. We see that, in particular, younger generation moving away completely from TV channels. Even some are not watching linear channels, TV channels anymore. And we're discussing earlier the example of TikTok that just came up, didn't exist prior to 2016, have taken over or surpassed traditional social
You said
media
how
channels.
your advertising had changed completely.
And you can no longer rely on one single channel or two or even three channels to drive an effective marketing strategy. And that's why we need or to use a company like Booking or the likes of Booking, or you do it yourself, to engage with the consumer at different stages of the funnel, be it the low intent all the way until become very interested in the purchasing travel. Now, when it comes to the mix, and often the question is why the guest goes to a hotel versus OTA or OTA versus hotel. It really depends on the different type of consumer and the audience. So if a customer wants to go to specifically, let's say, Sofitel The Palm, an Accor hotel, you will go, and they're very determined, very specific about that, you will go directly to Sofitel The Palm. Perhaps you will go to check the content on Booking.com, and often what we see that we create a billboard effect. This is how we help as well in driving direct. So many of the booking that goes directly is actually a consumer that came to our website, ended up booking the hotel directly, because they are very specific about
Is that because the content on the websites of the hotels isn't as rich as what you provide?
I wouldn't, it's not the case. I wouldn't say it's the case, because we get the content from the hotel. I would say because we sit on a tremendous amount of content, and we give a lot of options when it comes to search.
Yeah.
So the customer prefers options, and be able to compare, and at the end, if they select a property, sometimes you go specifically or directly towards the hotel website. But if a customer goes to our website saying, hey, I want to book a property in London City, very likely they will end up converting and transacting on Booking.com.
Yeah.
But if they want to book a specific brand, then they search the content on our website, and they end up sometimes booking on the brand directly.
And of course, the loyalty programs have a big role to play as well, don't they? If somebody is, really big into their loyalty program, they will use that. Yeah. And obviously, you then do get the more personalised approach with the marketing that they do. We talked about chatbots. Now, the jury's out about chatbots. Some people love them, some people hate them. They can be useful, can be annoying, can't they? But I think, Piero, you were talking about this kind of hybrid conversation, weren't you? And how that can kind of help and connect the dots in terms of this search to stay that we're talking about. Tell us what you think.
Yes, actually, we were talking all about this thing, and something that what I talk until now is what we are doing now, and what we feel now can have a big impact, but we're also working as a software company of what will be the future. And on one side, what we understand is that there will be an hybrid guest journey. Already, I totally agree with what you were saying before, that the client today might go on Booking.com because it's fantastic when you have to do a research in a place and you get a lot of information. But there is also the billboard effect. Sometimes they will go to the direct booking. And in this part, what we feel and what we are putting a lot of development is using chatbot to go in something we call conversational selling. Something that you will arrive to buy a room through a conversation. It's not more, okay, question, you put your query, you buy a room, but we are talking and suddenly I will happen to buy a room in maybe an hybrid mode, something we're talking about omni-channel. I'm thinking about maybe a client that starts on Booking.com, maybe goes on Booking.com, they buy an entry-level room, and then directly they might buy an upgrade in the suite. Or they start a conversation on the website, but they don't finalize the reservation on the website because at a certain point they have special needs, and so they be contact after they talk through a chatbot by the reservation department because maybe with my family I need to have 2 rooms, but 2 separate rooms and one them close. So I think that we are going to something that we call conversational selling and hybrid reservations.
It's like what we always say, no, you know, robots aren't going to replace people. They just help, don't they, along the way?
They can help.
Yeah,
they can
enhance it. Yeah, yeah.
Before they were talking about it, and yes, I think that the big role today is helping to give a personal touch also to the operators. When I was a lot of time ago working in the reservation, and my problem was I was always giving the same answer. And now you can give the same content, which is important, but let's say giving a personal touch thanks to LLM models.
Yeah, because people want it now. They don't want to wait either. They don't want to call. They just want it.
And there's also another point, the language. It can be a barrier. And it's fantastic what you can do now with LLM.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking each in its natural language.
Yeah. Tariq, you love a chatbot. We had this discussion. What can you add to what Piero said?
I think at this point, love is a strong word. Again, it comes down to functionality, and I think the key with all of these things is that it has to work. There's nothing worse than saying, oh yeah, we're using AI and we've got a chatbot, and then you can't get any value out of it. All the ideas are fantastic, but they have to be backed up by data, which once again, you can start to train all these LLMs. But if you don't provide value, there's no point in having them.
No.
And I think today the biggest challenge that we see is there are lots of claims to fame when it comes to AI, and I totally agree, it will not replace people. And more than artificial intelligence, you could look at it as assisted intelligence. But I think that once we actually get it right, once we have the data, once we're able to provide a meaningful conversation, this is when it will be a game changer for sure.
Do you think we'll get there? I mean, the technology is getting better all the time, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the technology is it's exploding exponentially. And what you see or what you heard of a year ago, 2 years ago, we're leaps and bounds ahead. But the question is, do you have the foundation to take advantage of what is coming?
Yeah, good point. And Fouad, I mean, your AI trip planner, I didn't think you didn't get to tell us about it. So tell us quickly, what does that entail and how well is it being received? Is it, and what's the usage?
Sure. So building very quickly on what Tariq said earlier, that just introducing a technology for the sake of it is the worst that can happen. So when we introduce the trip planner, AI trip planner, we're very careful where to introduce it. Today, it's used way upper in the funnel when it comes to discovery, creating itineraries, or all the way from until the booking stage.
Is it for inspiration first?
For inspiration, answering questions, helping customers to create itineraries. If a customer is not sure about destination, they start asking the AI trip planner, of course with the help of LLM, to get recommendations, and through there they start narrowing down their intent or their interest all the way until they get to the desired property. So it helps customers a lot with that. With our sister company, for instance, Priceline, they have their own AI, but instead of deploying it on the beginning of the journey or the upper in the funnel, it was at the end of the funnel with the booking experience itself or answering questions. So it had reduced significantly the amount of inbound to customer service and improved customer satisfaction. So based on that experience, they've brought it up higher in the funnel. So there are different use for generative AI. And we're looking forward to really expand it throughout the different stages of the travel journey. We sit on a lot of proprietary data and content, and we use this data to train specific models and fine-tune the AI models to provide a better personalization.
Do you know what demographics are using it? Do you have that level of data?
There's data on that. I remember we published data on that. But what is interesting that we see over time is that users are increasing on booking. But not only users, repeat users are improving, growing faster than are growing faster. And because of that, we see direct business as to paid channels is growing way faster. Today, our direct business sits at the mid-range of 50%, and if we take away B2B, our direct will be at the 60% as to paid channels. And this is because of the years and years of efforts we spent on personalization and other technologies.
So it works.
Yeah, it works, absolutely.
Excellent. We're nearly running out of time. Do we have any questions before we wrap up? Anyone want to ask our panelists anything to do with what we've been talking about today? Anyone? Can't actually see, I'm blinded. Do speak up. If not, I think it'd be good to kind of wrap up on, where do we go from here? If we could kind of, each of you wrap it up in 1 or 2 sentences. What do we do now? In terms of the subject of the seamless guest journey, what would be the one thing we could do going forward?
So I think to sum it up, I think, looking at the session title, I think it is a clear need that we have. I think everything that we've discussed today in one way, shape or form is underpinned by data.
Yeah.
And of course the readiness to take advantage of technologies that are there or that are coming. And I think at this point in time, the focus would be to get ready for the next step in order to take advantage of the technology.
Great. Piero?
I agree. So taking advantage of technology, I will pin it in first point is that using a dynamic advertising budgeting that is multi-source, so based on the data of the hotel and data outside, and having this we call it dual revenue management, so having a policy for direct and policy on direct to keep the best from each of the 2 channels, looking forward, going through a journey through a conversational selling and hybrid reservations.
Brilliant. Fouad?
Gen AI will evolve the way evolve personalization, how we work. And mobile is here to stay. It's not going anyway. So mobile will continue to be the most preferred device for consumers. So I would say, and it's the best way to engage directly and offer personalization. So invest as much as you can in mobile, in optimizing mobile, of course. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Perfect. Well, we finished exactly, can I just say, on 00000. Ladies and gentlemen, could you give my panelists a big round of applause, please? Thank you. I do believe that now we have a coffee break, is that correct? So, good news, grab a coffee, grab a biscuit or a croissant, and come back for our next sessions after that. So, about 5-10 minutes. Perfect, thank you.